All right, everybody, welcome. Welcome to this exciting webinar on titled Five Steps to Stress-Free Productivity During a Crisis in collaboration with Future Generali. I'm so excited to have you all here. This webinar will be co-hosted by myself, Arif Vakil, and my brother, Ali Vakil. I will be the lead presenter, and Ali will be keeping his eye on the comments and answering your questions going along, either by typing them out or by sometimes taking over the mic and answering them directly. So, what's all this webinar all about? Well, ever since the lockdown has announced, all of us have gone into a bit of a tizzy. Um, how many of you feel that, oh my gosh, you just can't focus on work? You have fear and anxiety about what's going to happen next. You're not able to prioritize what to do now, what to do next. On top of that all, you've now because of the now that because you're at home all the time, you've got the additional burden of home responsibilities as well, additional burden of taking care of the family while managing your work at the same time. How many of you feel like that? If it's a yes, add a Y or a yes in the comments. If it's a no or a maybe, add a no or a maybe. If you totally agree with it, hit a Y, and say yes, this is how you feel. Ali, you've got to let me know how the comments are going. Ali, are you unmuted? Can you say something?
I'm here and I can see the Y's coming in. I can see Ajay Sharma, Bharti, Darshana. They're all saying yes, 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 and Y's coming in.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, great. So if that's the case now, I'm certain that if I were to take an X-ray of your mind right now, I would get an image that would be something like this. Yeah, can you relate to the image? You've got kids to take care of. It was the year end. Some of you've got taxes to take care of. Your exercise schedule has gone out of the way. Then you've got phone calls, you've got emails, and oh my God, don't even start on the WhatsApp. Bang, 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 bang. Next. It is so overwhelming. You don't know what to do first. You don't know what to do next. You don't know where to start. At the end of the day, you're just beat. You're just tired, and everything is just one big mess. So that's and while that may have been exaggerated, and while that may have been the case in the situation that we are right now, however, this is only an exaggerated state of how is our life on a daily basis. On a daily basis, when you show up to work, it is still the same case. You got a phone call, you've got an email, you've got a con call to do. On top of that, your boss is knocking at the door. If you're a boss, you've got an employee knocking the door, waiting for you for permission for something or a signature for something. It's just on and on and on and on. So how do you stay on top of your game? How is it that what you can do, whatever that needs to be done, while being relaxed and stress-free about it? So we have this image, we have this analogy in the methodology called getting things done, and that's called the surfboard effect. What's the surfboard effect all about? Well, what the surfboard effect states is, I've just, if you had days where you've got to do one thing after the next, and it just feels like you're in the middle of the ocean. You're in the middle of the ocean, you're drowning, and you're doing all the best you can do to stay afloat. You're dog paddling, and you stay afloat. And soon as you stay afloat, a phone call comes. Hey, we've got a crisis, you've got to deal with it. And splash. That phone call was like a wave that slammed you on your head and pushed you away to drown again. And as you're drowning, you're dealing with the crisis. As soon as you've got it in control, you're back on float again. You've got a WhatsApp message from your wife, please call me back. There's something urgent that you need to deal with. And splash, that wave has hit you again, and once again, you're going drowning. As soon as you surf afloat, it's one thing after the next, over and over. At that point, if you had days like that, or if you had, God forbid, weeks or months like that, what is it that you need so that you are on top of this ocean that you're in the middle of? While it would be really ideal perhaps to have a nice big ocean liner, and maybe you're in that ocean liner, and no matter what wave hits, you're certainly on top of everything that you do. But the problem with an ocean liner is you need a whole crew to go with it to manage. And you need a full act of Congress, perhaps, if you need to turn it a little bit and make decisions about. So instead, in getting things done, GTD, what we offer you a surfboard so that you're free, you're flexible, and damn, does it look cool. But no matter how good you are at surfing, no matter how good this guy is on surfing, eventually, what's going to happen? Ali, let me know when the answers come in.
All right, I'm checking this out. What's going to happen eventually when a surfer is continuing on his surfboard? Eventually, what's going to happen?
Okay, there's a bit of a lag in our statement and the answers coming in. So I'm going to carry on. So no matter how good this guy is at surfing, eventually what's going to happen is he's going to fall off, no matter how good the guy is at surfing. However, if you observe closely at the surfer, you will notice that on his left ankle, he's got something tight at the ankle. And what is that he's got there? He's got an ankle tether. What's an ankle tether? All of us have seen surfing on TV, even if we've not been on the waves ourselves. All of us have been seen surfing, and we've noticed that whenever a guy is knocked off the surfboard, his surfboard is nearby. His surfboard is not flung all the way across the ocean. And why is the case? Because it's tied with an ankle tether. The ankle tether ensures that the surfer, that the surfboard stays close by. So what? So what if the surfboard stays close by? What's the big deal about that? Well, the big deal is he can obviously get back on fast. So what? Well, the so what is this. Because he can get back on fast, that ensures, that gives him the confidence that this surfer can surf bigger waves. He has that confidence that no matter what happens, I can get back on fast. I can surf bigger waves. And if that being the case, that he can always surf bigger waves, he has that confidence that no matter. And if he can always surf bigger waves, the fear of falling off goes away. And after all, who is the best entrepreneur or the most successful entrepreneur? The most successful entrepreneur is the one who's willing to take the most risks. Risk with a safety net, risk with an ankle tether there. Who is the greatest painter? If you take up a hobby, you know, whether it be painting, whether it be any craft, that the first two iterations that come out, they are bad, they're horrible. But the one who sticks with it, the one who goes on making good paintings, the one who goes on making paintings, no matter how they come out, those who keep on writing or singing or whatever craft they do, at the end, something beautiful comes out. But you can do that provided you have an ankle tether tied to it. My point of all of this is that no matter how good you get at the game, there will be some crisis that you'll hit. GTD is that surfboard with that ankle tether. And that ensures that no matter how bad things get, you are there and you will be able to, GTD will help you get back on fast to your surfboard, get back on fast to your game and your work so that you continue to get things done, and that you are getting things done while being in a state of relaxed, calm, stress-free, anxiety-free, and things are still moving ahead in your life. Now, I've been involved with this material for quite some time. You can see me and Ali here with David. I've been doing practicing GTD and perhaps even teaching GTD for almost 15 years now, and practicing it for even longer. Ourselves, myself and Ali, We are the founders of Calm Achiever. We have the exclusive license to train this material of getting things done that David has discovered in India. And that's not the only thing that I do. I'm director of a company, a real estate construction company, a family business, Vakil Housing. I run a school called ILM Montessori for the last 7 years now. And I help my brother co-author books and the Sufi comic series. I've been able to do all this variety of interests of mine, be able to engage with them. A big bedrock of me able to do that, a fundamental trait that I keep going back to, is because I've been practicing this methodology of getting things done. It is truly, truly transformational and life-changing. I really hope that you will be inspired by this webinar to take this on, to practice it. I will be covering the whole methodology in this 1 hour plus webinar, as well as being sharing with you a tool where you can apply this for yourself towards the end. So stick on towards the right end to see what is the tool that you can use to apply this methodology, and what is the basic setup that you need so that you can get started with this methodology. With that in place, let's get started. So why does GTD matter? What's the big deal about getting things done? Well, the big thing about getting things, why is this important at all? Because in a world where we are totally overloaded, where we're totally things are completely being bombarded with information. Sure, it was, some of us are perhaps old enough to remember life without email. Now, email is pretty become the default standard, but it's not just email that's there. Right after email came a whole host of instant messaging. AIM was one that I remember. But once even that went away, they came beepers and SMSs. Now, now we are bombarded with WhatsApp messages. Something new has come up into our environment, Slack. So the volume of messages is just going up. Now with lockdown, since that's the only way of communication, that itself has exponentially grown. So if you're keeping getting bombarded with messages, unfortunately, you can't avoid them, because in all those messages, there are some messages that are mission critical, that if you don't do some, there's going to be a crisis that's going to hit. So you've got to be on top of the messages. But there's so many, it's not even possible. There aren't enough minutes or hours in the day for you to be able to stay on top of it. So what do you do? How do you surf or manage in this world of information overload and in this world of chaos? This is no longer GTD, getting things done, is no longer a nice to have. It's a must have. You better do it and better stay on top just to be able to maintain your sanity. So if this is so important, that so that I can be able to stay on track of all the incoming things that come, other than the messages, your own thoughts and ideas, so that I can move forward, well, and you're interested that that's something that is really necessary now, and it's a must have, not just nice to have, then that begs the question, how do I start? What is the first thing that I need to do so that I can get into this game of stress-free productivity? Well, the good news is you are doing most of these behaviors already. You're doing most of these behaviors already. And to demonstrate that, I'm going to ask you a question. And here is the question. The question is, say, imagine the lockdown is over. It's done, finished. It's old news. We've all started going to work. It's been a while now. We're going to work regularly. And now you're at home. When I say now, once the lockdown is over, you're at home in the evening. You've got to go to work the next morning. You've got to go to work the next morning, and you've got to take something really important. You've got to carry with you something that is mission critical. You cannot forget this at home. You've got to take it with you when you go to work the next morning. My question to you is, where do you put it? Please share your answers in the chat box. And I've got my chat box working again, so actually I can even read it myself. Darshan, Ajay, Shweta, Mansi, go ahead. Let me know, where do you put it? Sanmitra, you put it on the phone calendar. That's a good one. Where else? Come on, I need one or two more answers to continue. At least one more. You're at home. You've got something really important to take to office the next morning. Say it's a document. You cannot forget this. So where do you put it so that you ensure that you take it the next morning?
I'm
Okay,
seeing
Shweta.
sticky notes, diary, tell someone to remind you, phone calendar, diary,
Diary.
post it, to-do list, laptop, office bag, in your bag,
Then I'm bored. Okay.
note.
Okay, observe. Many of you did some version of this.
All right, I sorry, I really had to. So someone said near my face mask.
Okay. Lockdown is over, Ajay. But good one. I like that. Yeah, bag, notepad, post-it note. Those of you written to-do list or diary, I applaud you. So if you have put it there, you've got to have the discipline to ensure, or you probably have that discipline to ensure that you look into that list before you get out. Because if you don't do that, guess what? You're going to forget. So those of you who said bag near the car keys, or best of all near your face mask, all of you did some version of this. You did the behavior that you did because this is what the normal routine or habit that you go through, so to get out of the house. So let's break this down. Let's analyze this. Let's reverse engineer this process. Why did you do the behavior that you did? And you did the behavior that you did because of two reasons. The reason I normally get is so that I don't forget. Yeah, but that's putting it in the negative, so that you don't forget. What is that you're positively doing? Is so that I actually carry the item with me when we reverse that, so that I actually get stuff done. Sure, you did that so that you get stuff done. But what's the other reason? You get stuff done anyway. What's the other reason you put it, right at the night before? The other reason is that not only will you get stuff done the next day morning, is so that the moment you put it there, for a short while, the little stress and anxiety and overwhelm that you have, oh, I better take this morning, soon as you put it there, that goes away. And you go like, you're relaxed. And you will get the stuff done the next day. Isn't that cool? You have gotten the stress away. You're no longer thinking about it. You're no longer worried about it. You have begun to move forward while being relaxed at the same time. And it's not for just stuff that you need to take to work the next morning. Some of you are already maintaining diaries and calendars. I'm sure if I do a survey, ask how many of meeting calendars, I'll get a lot of yeses. Why do you do that? You do that because 3 o'clock next Tuesday, you don't want to know if you've got a meeting 3 o'clock next Tuesday. You don't want to forget that you've got the meeting. So you put it in your calendar and you can relax. Because on Tuesday, when Tuesday comes up, you look at your diary, you look at your calendar, 3 o'clock meeting next Tuesday, and you show up. Many of you make lists when you go to shopping. And we better make a list when you go to shopping these days, because of the queue there, there's very little chance you don't want to go back into the shop again. So why do you do that? So that when you show up at the shop, at the store, you have a list of things and you'll be able to pick up things that you need. And suppose you don't make a list when you go to shopping, what happens then? You go into the store to buy milk and eggs, you buy everything. As soon as you come home, just before you ring the doorbell, you look at the bag. Oh my gosh, damn it, I forgot my milk and eggs. So this is not new behavior. But how about if we apply this behavior of having stuff out of our mind, being relaxed about it, and yet getting things done beyond calendar, shopping list, and stuff that we need to take to work the next day in the morning? But we have this behavior for everything in our life, for all the emails that you have to send, all the WhatsApp messages that you need to reply to, all the stuff that's lying at your desk at office which you are not able to visit, all the post-it and sticky notes that you have put all over yourself, over your life, on your dashboard of your car, all over everything that you own. What if you get all of that off your mind, so that you're relaxed about it, stress-free about it, and it gets done? How would that look like? How would you like to have that? Well, to be able to do that, it's a very simple process, but it has many, many, many layers to it. And David has discovered these layers in these 5 steps. These 5 steps, which of getting from chaos into control. Getting control of what? Getting in control of a meeting that's out of control, getting your desk that's out of control, getting yourself, your head that's out of control. To get anything in control, you've got to apply these 5 steps. So are you ready? Are you ready for that secret sauce, for that magic recipe, for that silver bullet to help you get from, be it a small crisis or a large crisis? Just apply these 5 steps to get you from a state of craziness, chaos, crisis, to a state of relaxation, focus, balance, control, and meaningfully engagement. To be able to do that, these 5 steps are: capture what has your attention, clarify what that means, park the results of what that into a place that you trust, reflect on it regularly, and then simply do. So what do these mean? I'm going to unpack each of these in detail with each slide on each of these 5 steps. But let me give you an overview. What is capture all about? Capture is taking into account, making a note outside of your head for anything that is not in cruise control. What's clarify about? For anything that's not in cruise control, is asking yourself why it is not in cruise control, and what would cruise control look like? What would done look like? And what would be the next action that I need to do to move forward on that? Once I have made those decisions on what done looks like and what is the doing looks like, so what is the next action that I need to do to move forward on that, I then need to organize. I need to park the results of these into a place, into a system where I trust that I will look into it regularly and often enough so that it's off my mind, which is reflect. And once you do that, engage is simply trusting your gut, your intuition, your higher spirit to allocate the resources to on what you should be doing and what you should not be doing. That sounds so theoretical, isn't it? Let me make it practical, and let me give you a real life example out of it. Though we are in a major crisis right now, and may God help us get out of this really soon, get out of this really well, and may God protect all the weak ones, in our society, and may God give us the strength to protect them and help them. But prior to this, we've had several crises, if not a major one, several minor ones, perhaps once every week. And one such crisis that perhaps some of us have faced is, we've come home, we are tired, we just want a break, we want to rest, But all of a sudden, tring, 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 our phone rings. We pick up the phone and we say, hello. Oh, hi, honey. Hi, sweetheart. Listen, this is your in-law. Guess what? We've just arrived at the train station. We happened to show up and we'll be coming over. So see you in 45 minutes, okay? We've not had dinner, so let's have a nice meal together. And you put the phone down, you step into a kitchen, and oh my God, the kitchen's a mess. And it's your in-laws coming. You can't order something takeout. You've got to prepare something. So have you had that scenario ever in your life? That you've got surprise guests coming over, there's something you need to prepare, and you step into a kitchen and your kitchen is a mess. What do you do? How do you get out of that mess? Well, to get out of that mess, believe it or not, what you did is actually apply these 5 steps. And let me prove it to you. Say you stepped into your kitchen and you stepped into a messy kitchen and you see stuff lying all around you that's not supposed to be there. What is the first thing that you do? You don't get organized. You don't prioritize. That's not the first thing you do. The first thing you capture. What is that you capture? You capture all the things that are not in cruise control. You capture all the things that are out of place, and should not be in out of place. So, for example, you see dirty dishes. What do? You capture that. Clean dishes, you make a note. You observe that. Messy food, notice that. Fresh food, you notice that. Spices, you notice that. You take in all this data. You take in all this information, and then you clarify. You make decisions. What should be done about the dirty dishes? What should be done about the clean dishes? What should be done about the stinky food? What should be done with the fresh food? Then you organize. How do you do that? Ooh, messy food in the trash, fresh food in the fridge, spices in the cupboard, dirty dishes in the sink, clean dishes in the rack. And once you're organized, then you step back and you reflect. What is it that I need to do? Of course, it's that particular recipe that I need to make. You either pull out the recipe, or you being a pro as it is, you take out the pan, you take out oil, and you start cooking and you engage. Observe. You went from chaos into control by doing these 5 steps only. And David is fond of saying that he didn't invent these steps. He just observed what it takes to get into control from chaos. And we've applied it in our lives when we've been in such situations of crisis. And how do I apply it every single time, even when I'm in a crisis or not? Therefore, let's go into each of these steps. And the first step that we're going to talk about is capture. What is capture all about? What exactly do we capture? Yes, I said that we capture things that are not in cruise control. So what are those things that are not in cruise control in your life? Well, if you were to attend any of our workshops, or if you were to ask me or Ali to come and coach you at any particular point in time, what is it you know was the first thing that we would capture? We would ask you to empty your pockets, empty your wallets, empty your purses, empty your bags. Look at what's on top of your desk, look what's in your drawers, and look into each of these areas and see what is there that does not belong there, but has been lying there for a few hours, for a few days, for a few weeks. And we collect and gather and pile all those physical things and pile it nice and high into a little tray that we call an in tray. And that is the physical capture step that we do. We look at everything that does not belong where it should be in your bags, wallets, purses. Take that out, pile it into a high, nice in tray. And we don't do just these things for things in your office. We do the things for things in your home as well. Many of you say, but I don't have an in tray. Oh, if you don't have an in tray, guess what? Your whole office becomes an in tray. Your whole home becomes an in tray. It's not a question whether you have it or not. You all do have one. It's a question of what size. And if you don't restrict that to a particular size or to a particular location, it spreads all over your life and creation. And that's just the physical capture that we do. What do we do after that? And believe me, that's a relatively small pile compared to what has your attention for all the stuff that you have captured in over here. The stuff that you have captured in over here goes on and on and on and on, and you're thinking about that stuff while we are in this webinar as well. We do what we call a process called a mind sweep. And if you were, again, if we were coaching you one-on-one, or if you attend our workshops, we sit and we give you the time and space to do a complete a mind sweep. Sometimes in the coaching, we go for a complete mind sweep very often. What does a complete mind sweep look like? What do you exactly do? It's a very simple process. All you need are two things: pen and paper. And we ask you to write down anything and everything that has your attention. So you might say, I need groceries. That has my attention. Oh, go ahead, write down. I need groceries. Oh, actually, I need to finish that report. I need to finish that report. Ah, I, I, I need a life. I'm leading a lousy life. Need a life. Everything from personal to professional, small, big, short term, long term. Go ahead, just write one thing at a time and bullet points one below the other, and you keep on going till you have gotten everything out, till get the whole tsunami out of there, so that you've got nothing in here and it's just completely clean and empty. Ah, and the relaxation you will feel once you've got there, it's got to be experienced. How many items do you think would be the case once you have done a complete mind sweep? I've not asked a question for a while, so go ahead. Give me a number. How many things do you think, if you do a complete mind sweep, how many things, how many items would you have in your list? Another rule of the mind sweep is that even if you have it on a list somewhere else, but it's still on your mind, you write it down. So go ahead, put some numbers down. How many do you think would be there? Rajesh is saying 10 to 12. Come on, others, let me know. Do a complete mind sweep. Is there only 10 to 12 things? More, less? Yes, Sanmitra, you're getting there. Mayush, 50. I'm going to wait for one more answer. Woohoo! Arjun Rana, 100. And Arjun is sort of closer to what our experience has been. Typically, when I ask this question, the first answer I get is and around that much. Yeah, I don't know, 10, 12, 15. I challenge you. I dare you. I double dare you. Go ahead, make that list. And I would be surprised, very surprised, if you stop after 5 to 10. It's only when you start writing these, you'll go like, oh, and you'll keep writing and you'll keep writing and you'll keep writing. And typically we've seen that the mind sweep that you have around 75 to 150 things on your mind. You've not thought about all the emails that you have to answer, all the WhatsApp messages that you need to get to, all the things that you need to do at home and office. In our workshop, we'll give you a trigger list of all that things that remind you of where you have attention in areas of your life. When you look at the list, you'll go, oh my God, that reminds me, I need to do this, 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 this. And that activity we've seen can take anything from 15 minutes to 45 minutes. I have seen mind sweep that has gone as long as hour and a half, 2 hours. David has done a collection in one of his coaching that he actually says that it took him a day and a half just to do the mind sweep, and it still did not end there. He went and said, look, you get the idea, let's move ahead. So there is a lot of stuff that's in there, and this can take that long. And I wish we could do one right now, but go back with this homework or this activity, that from now onwards, as soon as you have something that has your attention, you do not stop. You go ahead and get that out of your head onto pen and paper or onto an app on your phone. Even if it's an app on your phone, don't put it in 5 different apps. Put it in one app and put it in under one note in that app. Don't put it in 10 apps. Okay, personal stuff in a different list, professional different list, long-term goals in a different list. No. Everything goes into one note only. One note, not the Microsoft app, but just in one particular place only. And of course, that begs the question, Arif, if you want to put everything down and in one place, oh my God, I'll have just list, and lists. I'll tell you what to do with the list, but I can't tell you if you don't have that list in the first place. So each of these 5 steps have worst and best practices. What's the worst practice of capture? The worst practice of capture, something that many of us are guilty of, is making mental to-do lists, is putting things on in our minds. And all of us have had that experience, that there's something that we told someone, look, can you get back to me on this? Or something we told ourselves we'll do. Yes, I'm going to make a call to that person. And you're confident it's going to happen. I'll get back to you, not an issue. I'll make the call and I'll get back to you. And when are we reminded of that? It's when we're having lunch. It's when you're driving back home, or when we have a shower in the morning. Oh, I need to get back to that person. Oh, I need to get back to the person. Oh, I need to get back to that person. Oh, I need to make a call. We never remember the thing that we need to do when we are at the phone. If any of you have a flashlight or torch with dead batteries in it, when are we reminded to replace those batteries? In India, we have power cuts. Power cuts, we reach out for that torch, and when it's dark, oh damn, this has dead batteries in it. Or if we have a watch somewhere with dead batteries in it, is when you pull out that watch, oh my God, there's dead batteries in it. We never remember to take the watch with us when we are actually going out. That's when we should remember it. Or when we are passing by the store with 2 AA batteries, oh, I need to pick up these batteries. We don't remember it then, because we use our mind to hold on to our ideas, and because we're following the worst practice of keeping stuff in our head. Therefore, from now onwards, once you do your mind sweep, I challenge you, never ever stop. Always get stuff out of your head and keep it out. Now, this is nothing new. You guys have already been making lists, and I'm sure you have some version of a to-do list already. What the only difference is, I'm asking you to have it overdo it and have much more, and have a complete list and have nothing in your head. And now that you've got all your lists, what do you do with these lists? Thank you, Arif. You just told me to write stuff down. Great job. But what's the big deal? What am I going to do with these? Let me show you the next step, which is clarify, and which is making a decision for each of these things in your list. And by the way, your lists are not just things in your mind sweep. It is, well, let me come to that. So what is this decision that you need to make for each of these items? Each of these items in your mind sweep, each of these items in your in tray that you have collected, nice pile and high, the physical items, for each of the items in your email inbox, for each of the WhatsApp message that you receive, you have to go through this process. You have to answer these series of questions. And what are these questions? The first question is, well, what is it? Well, for most of the items in your mind sweep, you probably don't need to ask this question. You know what it is. But have you ever I'm sure you're not that person, but you know people with lots of piles of stuff around them, piles of stuff. Or people with emails and emails and emails on their computer. And how do these people deal with this stuff? They look at these piles of stuff. One day they're inspired. They look at the thing. What do I need to do with this? They look at it, and they put it back into their desk. Or they open an email which has 6 attachments. It's from HR. They're telling you to do, the policies and procedures of this, for which the policies and procedures are that, but for which there are exceptions, if you remember, of which the exceptional policies are this. Therefore, you should follow the policy. You look at that and you go like, and you leave the email there and you go to the next email. Why are those stuff files still there in these people's lives? Why are these emails still there in these people's inbox? You have not clarified, well, what is it? As soon as you're clear what it is, then you got to ask yourself the next question: is it actionable? For which there are 2 and only 2 possible answers. Yes or no? Could it get easier? That's it. For each of these things, you will just ask yourself, no. Yeah, is it actionable? And if yes or no. And if it is a no, and for a lot of things in your life, especially a lot of emails that are sitting in inbox, they are not actionable. Where do they belong? A lot of them belong in trash. There are some emails or some things in your, or some physical items that are not actionable, but you don't want to trash it, you want to keep it. Therefore, we recommend you have a good referencing system. What is an ideal referencing system? In GTD, this referencing system that we recommend is that if there is something that you need, digital or physical, that you cannot trash, but you need to, and you need to keep to refer to it, you should be able to file it in such a way that you can file it in 30 seconds or less, in such a way that when you want to retrieve it, even 10 years later, it takes you 30 seconds or less to retrieve it, digitally or physically. Now, there's some things that are not actionable, which are not trash, which are not reference. It's not actionable now, but you don't know. Someday it could be actionable. So those items is what we call our incubate, or what we refer to as someday maybe. Now, there are things which are actionable. Many things, most of the things in your mind stream will probably come into this category. They are actionables. This is what's in stuff that you've been thinking about. A lot in your email and WhatsApp messages will be actionable. And then you ask yourself a question, a very key question, a critical question. This is the heart of the GTD system. I want you to go back and hammer this question in your head and ask yourself for everything that you've written down in your mind sweep list that you're going to create, and for every email that you're going to answer, and for every WhatsApp message that come. And that question is to move forward on that thought, to move forward on that email, to move forward on that WhatsApp message. What's my next action? A lot of things that people write on the mind sweep list are rarely things that are actionable. It is just a trigger, a reminder of something that needs to be done. What exactly needs to be done? What is the next physical, visible action that needs to be taken? What is it? And that requires some thinking, that requires some cognitive horsepower to be able to come to that. And we've not done that yet. We just put the trigger, something needs to be done. So go ahead and do that thinking now. What's the next action? And if the next action can be done in 2 minutes or less, this is where you do not pass go. You do not collect. You stop everything in the world and go ahead and do that 2-minute action, because it'll take you 2 minutes or longer anyway to decide the next action, write it down, look at it the next time, and then do it. You might as well have it done now. So if there is just one thing that you take back from this webinar, is go back with these 2 points. If you just do one thing today, is for everything in your life, ask yourself these 2 questions. What's the next action? And if the next action can be done in 2 minutes or less. And don't do it for some of the items, do it for all of the items. You will get through almost half of your emails are less than 2-minute actions. And many times the 2-minute action is not an email, it's actually a call. But go ahead and ask yourself, what's the next action? Oh, I need to make a call. Can I do it in 2 minutes or less? Go ahead, knock that thing off. Of course, some of you are senior folks in this call, and even the not so senior folks. There are many things in our life that not something that we need to move forward on, but it needs to be handled by somebody else. So what do we do about that? Well, then ask yourself, do we need to delegate it? And the remaining things which cannot be done in 2 minutes, which cannot be delegated, something that you need to do yourself, or that you have an agreement with yourself or somebody else, that is something that you need to take care of and takes longer than 2 minutes, is something that you defer. And each of these things can trigger what we call is a project. What's a project? A project is anything or anything in your life that takes more than one next step, more than one step, or more than one next action to finish. All of us are now stuck at home, and many new projects have come into our lives. A project can be set up a home office, can now be a project. It takes more than one step to do it. If there was no lockdown and we had to get our children to summer camp, getting children to summer camp is a project. It has multiple steps. You've got to make the call. You've got to research. You've got to go finalize the summer camp, have a discussion with your spouse. Is this the summer camp you need to? If your child is old enough, you've got to negotiate with them if they want to go to this summer camp or not. And then finally, you've got to pay the fees. And then perhaps the project is closed. Your summer camp sealed. Child has got into summer camp. So you have several personal projects in your life. You have work-related projects, a report to submit, a deadline to meet, and then finally you have a family to support. So Ashish, am I on now? Okay. Tell me when I'm live. I've put the presentation. Can you see it? One second. I've got to share the screen. Sorry. No, I didn't change system. I'm not done anything. I was just going on. Yeah, it's good. I've shared screen now. Okay, one second. Sorry. Can you see it now? Yes, I can see it. I think we need to announce it so that people understand. Right. Okay. Am I? You're on live right now. Okay. All right, everybody. Sorry, we had a technical glitch there. For some reason I went offline for a moment. I'm back now. Ali, if you're online, can you tell me what's the last thing I shared so I'll not repeat anything? Ali, I can't hear you. Or you can type it on the chat window, Ali. That's also fine. What's the last thing that I said? I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was just a clarifying map, and it was just defer it and project. So
all right,
you're just wrapping up the clarifying map.
Right. Okay. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back myself to me. So any action that takes longer than 2 minutes, which you cannot delegate and which is something that you would probably defer. So these are items like a long email that you need to draft out, or something, a report that you need to plan to do, a long discussion that you need to have with somebody, a long phone call that only you need to make. Ajay Sharma, thank you. And I was talking about project. Perfect. Good. Glad you guys are still on and with me. So those are items that you would defer. And of course, each of these would trigger something called a project. What is a project? A project is any activity that takes several actions or several steps to complete. An example of a project would be Many of us are in lockdown, so if there is, if we may have to set up a home office. So setting up a home office requires several actions. That is a project. An example I often like to give is, if we were not in lockdown and we had to get a children to summer school or summer camp, getting children to summer camp is a project, because you've got to research so many different summer camps online. You've got to discuss with your spouse and with your children that, hey, do you want to go to this summer camp, or do you want to send a child to this summer camp? Then you need to go and pay the fees or register online, and that's when the project is complete. So all of these are projects. We have projects at work, a large presentation to complete, which requires discussion, brainstorming, con calls, for that a presentation can be delivered, or a report can be sent, or a particular code can be uploaded and delivered. All these are projects in our life. We have got personal projects and we've got professional projects. Now, all of you would have created some version of, you would have some version of a to-do list in your life, and your to-do list would look something like this: mom, bank, doctor, ad campaign. All these are projects in your life. I'm sorry. All these are to-do lists that you may have. But to do what? What about mom? What about bank? What about doctor? Oh, mom, there's something that I need to do about mom. Oh, yeah, of course. Her birthday's coming up. So her birthday's coming up. So what do you need to do about her birthday? Oh, yeah. We'll have we'll celebrate her birthday. Of course, it's mom's birthday. It's her 50th birthday. We got to have a nice celebration for mom's birthday. Okay. So you want to celebrate mom's birthday. Well, to celebrate mom's birthday, what's the next action that you need to take? I don't know. See, look, there's so many things to do. There are guests to call, there are flowers to buy, gift to buy, cake to order. Okay, from all these things, what is the next thing you're going to do? What's the next physical, visible thing that you're going to do? I need to discuss with someone, Okay, to discuss with someone, what are you going to do? Who are you going to discuss with? I got it. I'm going to discuss with Ali. Okay, to discuss with Ali, what are you going to do? You're going to go up to him and discuss with him. You're going to call him. I'm going to call him, of course. And that's what's the next action. My next project is give mom a birthday party. My next action is call Ali regarding mom's party. Similarly, ad campaign. What do you need to do about ad campaign? Well, the project is to launch ad campaign. Next action, email Jim to set up ad campaign meeting. Look at the difference between the two lists. Which is the list you would like? The one on the right or the one on the left? And the one on the right attracts you. You want to move forward on it. When can I move forward and knock those things off? The one on the left, gosh, it repels you. Oh my God, I've got thinking to do about this. I don't have time to think about it because there's so much to do. Stop making me feel overwhelmed. Get this out of my face. So that's what we mean by clarify. So what's the worst practice about clarify? And do you think there's a lot of extra work to clarify, to do all this? You don't have time to clarify? Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen attending this webinar? You have to clarify anyway. You can't help but clarify. You can't help but make decisions about it. You can't help but decide. Why? Because mom's birthday is coming. Whether you decide now or later, mom's birthday will come. And if you don't decide the first time you think about it, you don't decide when the first time it shows up in your life, you'll end up deciding when. On the day of the birthday itself. Oh my God, it's mom's birthday today. Helter skelter, the sky is falling. Somebody get the cake. Somebody get the flowers. Somebody do this. And you'll be rushing all over the place. So observe, you've got to make this decision. You can't escape it. The worst practice is to decide when it blows up. So what's the best practice? Decide when it first shows up. So once you made all these decisions of all the stuff that you clarified, all the next actions, all the projects, all the once you make the decisions, all the next actions, all the projects, what do you do with it? Where do you organize it? So that's where David has come up with this brilliant organizing strategy, and they've come up with, how you actually define organize. Um, David and company recommends that nobody has come up with an as simple organization system that encapsulates everything and with a very clear definition. You organize it in just the simplest way to have a bare minimum of 4 lists. Of these 4 lists, of which one, the calendar, you probably already have. So 3 additional lists. A list of all your projects, a list of all the larger outcomes that you have in your life, a calendar for all the time sensitive and day sensitive events, things that you need to do in your life. So for example, mom's birthday would actually go into a calendar, and you might have some next actions for mom's birthday as well. Call Ali, go to the bakery and order a cake. Those would come into your next actions list, and all the stuff that you've delegated will come in your waiting for list. And the things which are not actionable would be the trashed, preference, or someday maybe. Someday maybe are things that you've incubated. If there are any GDD practitioners here, you would know that your next action list would be further categorized into, if you've got more than 30, 40, 50, which most people do, the calls would go in your calls list, the computer would go in your computer list, the errands would go into your errands list. And once you have your list like that, you've got everything out of your mind, you put things, you decide what the next action and the projects are, and you put it into lists, you can't just help do the right thing at the right time every single time. So what's the worst practice of organize? Worst practice of organize is to put different things with different meanings, all put them together. In other words, have blended stacks. And what's the best practice for organize? Is to have those 4 lists, which is your projects list, your calendar, your next actions, and waiting for. In other words, have clear categories. If you don't have clear categories, you may have done all the hard work of getting stuff out of your head, deciding what the next actions and projects are, and you just put them back together, all the stuff that you've got out of your head will come crawling back up into your head again. Now you can do all that. Then you got to do is actually look at your lists so that you are better at dealing with surprise. A surprise hit all of us, not just all of us in India, but all of us in the world. And the more we had the stuff out of our head, clarified and organized, the better we were at dealing with the surprise. We knew exactly what our next actions and projects were in our life. So when we thrown into a new situation, we were ready to, okay, which projects do I not deal with? Which are the new projects in my life? And at a workshop, we cover reflect in much more detail. You've got to have the daily reflect, which is where we look at your next actions list and calendar, and you better have a weekly reflect, or what we call the weekly review, where you once a week, you hold back the rest of the world. You put a stop to it, and you look at your entire gestalt of your whole system and make sure that you have all your commitments lined up. Suppose, and what is it if you don't reflect? Many of us, if we don't have a system or we don't reflect, or even if we have a system but we don't look at it, what do we end up doing? I'll tell you what you'll end up doing. Tomorrow, unless you have a meeting scheduled, which you know about it, tomorrow, 11 o'clock, or next Tuesday, 11 o'clock, I know exactly what you'll be doing. Of course, I know where you are, you'll be at home, but I even know what you'll be doing. You know what you'll be doing? You will be responding to the latest email, or the latest WhatsApp, or the latest noise at home, or the loudest thing that has come into your life. You will just react to the latest and loudest thing that has hit you. That's how we lead our lives without a system in front of us. We just one thing to the next, one crisis to the other, and we say, oh my God, my life is full of fires and I end up firefighting. But if you've got a system in front of you that will help you orient yourself, the view that, oh, I'm at home, these are the things that I can do at home, I don't need to be doing anything else, the rest can wait, and not worried about it. Once you've done all of that, last thing what you need to do is engage or simply do. And at our workshops, we share 3 models to help you prioritize. Now, while those 3 models are brilliant, excellent, terrific, awesome, and I use them very actively in my life, initially you don't really need to. What you really need to do is to ensure that you do the first 4 steps thoroughly, and that your gut, your spirit, your intuition will tell you what's the thing that you need to be doing. I'm certain that all of you had days where you have been busy, you have worked hard, you have done one thing after the next, and you have had, at the end of the day, you have felt tiredness, you have felt fatigue, you are beat, you just have no energy left in you. But you've got this empty feeling inside. When you look back at the day, it feels as if you've got nothing done. Have you had days like that? If you've had days like that, put a yes into the chat box. I know you guys are still with me. Why have you had days like that? You've had days, those are the days because when you were stuck in what we call the busy trap. You've been busy, busy, busy. And such a sad thing because you've been busy. It's not you were relaxing, you were goofing off, but you've been busy. And busy doing what? Busy doing the not the most appropriate thing, not the most meaningful thing that could be done, and have that over and over again. But however, imagine if you've had days where you've got everything out of your head and all your emails, not answered, but clarified, which are actionable, which are not. And then you've got things organized into lists that these are the things I need to do when I'm at my computer. These are the things what I need to do when I'm at home. These are the calls I need to make. These are the things I need to do at office. And when you're in office, you look at the things, I need to do this 1, 2, 3. Okay, from this is the most meaningful, I'll do that. Well, I'm on a computer, I need to do that. I've got a phone, they're going to make these calls. You've just done 3 or 4 things. And the rest of the day, you've actually relaxed and you don't feel guilty about it because each of the choice that you made is made a trusted choice. And you would have an awesome day and you can have the day over and over again. So these are the 5 steps that we call to help you get to have that awesome day over and over again, which is to capture what has your attention, clarify what it means, organize the results of what you've clarified into a system that you trust, reflect, look at it regularly, and then engage, simply do. Now, of course, all of us are in lockdown. We're not at our office. What is the best, most that we can do while we are in lockdown? So while we're in lockdown, here are some hygiene tips that you can do, and here are some next actions that you can take to make the best of a lockdown. One of the first things that you need to do is set up a good home office. This is a good example of a GTD home office. In a GTD home office or GTD office setup, there are only 4 things that you should have, nothing else. And those 4 things are best remembered by the acronym REDS, REDS. R stands for reference material, physical and digital reference material that you need. E stands for equipment. So the laptop and the in-tray would be equipment. D stands for decoration. The potted plant would be some nice little pretty decoration to have. S stands for supplies. The post-it note, the notebook, and the pen are supplies. Nothing else. Everything else would be piled onto your in-tray to be dealt with. But prior to that, so this is another very important thing. Once you have your workplace set up, do not share this workspace. This is your workspace. If you have other members of the family, encourage them to try to set up workspaces of their own, and do not share your workspace. Of course, many of us, all of us, perhaps have worked sometime at home, but we probably are used to working at home, a little bit lounging on the sofa or while sitting upright on the bed. But now the times are different. And at times you may be at home sometime during the day. Now we're at home all the time. So now's the time to have conversations and discussions with our family members and have negotiations with them. Look, when I'm in workspace, I'm in work mode. I'm in work time. And just like I'm in office at that time, you wouldn't come up to me when I'm at office. You don't come up to me when I'm work. Sure, reach me on my mobile phone when you would call me as you would call me in office. And I'll do what I can do from my office space. That's all I can do that because I'm in work mode and work zone. Now, these were, of course, difficult conversations to have and may not end in one conversation, but we've got to have these multiple times. So let's so be ready to have the multiple times till we come to an agreement and negotiation agreement with our family members. A great hygiene tip that has helped me during this lockdown, and I learned this pretty late into the lockdown. I wish I'd learned earlier, is to do the activities that you did to get you into that frame of mind that you're going to work. And for me, it was getting up in the morning, making sure that I used to drive to the gym. I can't do that anymore. So I do that exercise in the morning. I take a shower, and finally, I get into my work clothes. And just doing those 3 4 activities in the morning just jolts you up with, all right, this is I'm a different person now. I'm in a different mode and zone now. I'm into work mode and work zone. And it feels so good because there's only so much activities you get into home. We all of us are missing that engagement to get into work, to put our mind into something productive and create something. So if you've not implemented these in your life, go ahead and implement this to make sure that you make most of your work productive time while you are in lockdown. And finally, what I promised is that I'm going to share a tool with you. And the tool that I'm going to share with you is this tool called Microsoft To Do. So this is the tool that I have. It's called Microsoft To Do. Ali, if you can type Microsoft To Do in the chat so they know the correct spelling. You can look at the top right hand corner of my screen. It is To Do. The Microsoft To Do is a brilliant tool. It runs on all platforms. As you can, I'm using a Mac. It runs on Mac. It runs on iPhone, runs on Android, and most probably, I'm sure it should run on Microsoft Windows as well. Those of you who have Outlook and have an Outlook important part of your workflow, please use your if you use your Outlook login to log into Microsoft To Do, it will sync with the task module of Microsoft Outlook, which is a really cool feature of Microsoft To Do. And here I'm going to demonstrate a system to you. So what would so I'm going to start by demonstrating a mind sweep. What would a mind sweep be? Okay, what do I need to do? What are the things on top of my mind? I need to make a call. I need to call Nimi, so I'll just write Nimi. Oh, I've got an online GTD webinar coming up. Online GTD webinar. So I need to prepare for that. So I'll write online GTD webinar. Oh, I need to buy groceries. What I need to do? I need to buy milk for the children. I need to buy almond milk for myself. I need to buy peanut butter. Yeah, I need that. Oh, peanut butter. That reminds me, we've got a deliver workshop for this FMCG company called Hindustan Lever. So I need to deliver Hindustan Lever. Right? That's enough. Oh, I need to deliver a holacracy workshop. So holacracy workshop. So there you go. This is how you do a mind sweep. You write things that come one thing after the other. You write things that are there on top of your mind, big or small, personal or professional, long-term or short-term, doesn't matter. You write it into one big flat list. Once you've captured them, what do you do? Well, you process them. How do you process them? This is how you do it. Holacracy workshop. To move forward on this, what do I need to do? I need to just stand in front of the mirror and practice. I need to practice delivering this holacracy workshop over and over again. Where will I do it? I'm stuck at home. I'll probably do it at home. So I go to my home list and I write. I actually already have it here. So I'm going to just uncheck this for now. I'm going to practice delivering holacracy workshop. If I didn't have it here, or suppose I had this checked and I would have this hide completed tasks, I would type it here. Practice delivering holacracy workshop. And I come back to my inbox. Okay, my next action is practice delivering holacracy workshop. But is it part of a larger outcome? Yeah, I better deliver a damn good workshop. So I'm going to come add a task, deliver a good holacracy workshop. Yeah, I got a spelling mistake there, but that's fine for now. Now that I've got the next session, I've got the project, I'm going to strike this from my mind sweep so that goes away and I'm not tracking that again, because I'll be tracking the delivery of good holacracy workshop. Have I done this? And to move forward on that, have I, when I'm at home, I will look at it and will I see, have I practiced this on, when is a good time to practice? Deliver Hindustan Lever. So to move forward on that, what's my next action? My next action is I need to go to computer. I need to uh, email Vishal on update of Hindustan Lever workshop. Have you heard back from them? What's the status update? I need to email him. Is it part of a larger outcome? Yes. I go to projects, larger outcome, deliver a really good HL workshop. Once I have that defined, I'm going to check it off. Buy peanut butter, buy almond milk, buy milk. It's not part of a larger outcome. Just a next action I need to do is to buy these things and put it in errands. So next time I'm out and about, I'll open this in my phone and this will go in my errands list. By the way, I want to share that this syncs really well with my the to-do app in my iPhone. So if you look at this, the to-do app in my iPhone, just as I was clarifying the things in my system, you can see, and it's got the exact same things in the iPhone as well. So it syncs almost instantly, and it does that with whichever phone that you have. Okay, online GTD webinar. Oh yes, so I've got this exciting announcement to make about the online GTD webinar. I've got to make sure that this is there in my calendar. Let me just check my calendar. 29th, 30th, and 31st. It's first GTD workshop. I need to accept this invite. So I'm going to click here and click on accept. So yep, this is there in my calendar right now for 29th, 30th, and 1st. My next action is to set up Adobe Connect on my computer. So next action, set up Adobe Connect for online workshop on GTD. That's my next action. And once I do that, I've got a project is deliver a successful online GTD workshop. Have that in place. I'm going to strict it off. Nimi, I need to actually email Nimi. So, and it doesn't have a project. I need to send an email to Nimi. So I'm going to say email Nimi, and I'm going to move that to computer. I'm going to strike that off and look at that. Isn't that just look gorgeous? A nice, clean, empty inbox. This is my Mindsweep is empty. I do the same thing for my email and my WhatsApp messages on a daily basis. So then once I've done that, what do I do with the rest? Well, where am I? I'm at home. What can I do at home? Oh, I can do this now. Practice delivery holacracy workshop. And I don't worry about the errands that I need to do because I'm not outside. And while I'm at home, I got something else. I can speak to my wife about buying bread, peanut butter, almond milk. Yeah, when should we do that? Next time at my computer, I can look at my computer list. Oh, I got to email Nimi. I go ahead and I email that. I can set up this. I can email that. And my gut will tell which is the most important thing to do. So this is a very rapid example of a GTD system. Of course, now that you go back into your lives you realize that your lives may not be exactly like this, and you may be going through phone call, emails, things to do at home, things to do at errands, and blah, 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 one thing next, and you're going through chaos. But realize that there is a promise out there that you can be like this cool California surfer dude and can surf over the waves. And even if you get fallen off, you'll get a system to get back on, such that you deal with it in a state of mind like water, in a state of being calm, relaxed, in control, focused, and appropriately engaged. If you want such a state, I invite you to attend our GTD Fundamentals online workshop. We are conducting this workshop on the 29th, 30th of June and the 1st of May, 3 consecutive days from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So you don't have to be on front of your computer the whole day. It's just 2 hours a day for 3 days. This is an online version of the same workshop that we conduct in person. So it's the same slide deck, it's the same content, same material, it is even the same kit that David and Company have modified it to be online. They have released it just over the last 2 weeks. And this is our first launch of this workshop in India, and we invite you to attend it. The feedback for this workshop worldwide has been excellent. And in some ways, it's been better in the sense because you are actually implementing the workshop at your workstation rather than some five-star hotel taken away from your actual workspace. Our typical workshops for 1.5 days cost 15,000 rupees. If we were to do 1 day workshop, maybe we'd have an offer for 10,000 rupees. So we are offering this workshop, the GTD Fundamentals online workshop, at a launch price of 7,500 rupees, where we will go into each of these 5 steps in detail, giving you good actionable steps that you can do, making you practice several of these exercises during the workshop, and you get to practice this after the workshop and ask us questions on the next day. Me and Ali will be taking you through it. We've got an even extra special offer, is that if you register for this workshop by today, I believe that's what the offer is. So you'll get an additional 1,000 rupees discount of 6,500 rupees plus GST. So Ali will share the link right now in the chat where you can register for this workshop. So make a note of this link. We don't have your email ID, so there's no other way we can contact you. Or you can visit our website, kamashiva.com, and register for a workshop over there. For those of you who choose not to register for the workshop, that's perfectly fine. I request you to practice the things that we shared at the bare minimum. Make sure that you do a mind sweep. Make sure that everything that comes into your head, you write it down, and ask yourself what's the next action, and do the 2-minute actions. With that, we are now available for question and answers. It's 5:25. We'll probably take just 2 or 3 questions. If you've got any questions, go ahead and share them on the chat right now. Me and Ali will be happy to answer them. Ali, if you can share the link to register for the workshop as well. Okay, I don't see any questions coming up, though. Thank you all for your thumbs up and your hearts throughout. Thank you for all your likes and your loves. Really appreciate it. If you want to still learn more about GTD, you can, of course, visit our website, kamashiva.com. Me and Ali especially Ali writes a lot of blog posts on this, on GTD and our experience with GTD and practicing holacracy. There is a whole lot of free material. Please listen to David Allen podcasts and interviews. Our interviews I learn something, even though I've been doing 15 years, I still learn something new when I listen to a podcast or interview from David. Do buy the book, Getting Things Done, and you can learn GTD from the book directly. It was a pleasure presenting to you. Thank you so much for being a lovely audience, and hopefully I'll see you at the workshop or maybe somewhere else. Thank you so much. Goodbye.